as a writer, I've had the sometimes disconcerting, if other times also joyous, experience of having someone else, a person I have never met and perhaps never will, design the covers of my books. I'm talking about the professional graphic designer. Book cover design is a specialty informed by both graphic design principles and marketing. A publisher wants a book cover that fits with their brand image, and everyone hopes will fly off the shelves to readers' hands. Alas, though sometimes fortuitously, the author's vision for the cover is not always taken into consideration, and in fact, very few publishers will cede approval to the author in a book contract. Believe me, I've tried. Imagine the delight, after spending years writing a book, to see it so beautifully presented, as was the case with my first book, Sky Over El Nido, Stories, published by University of Georgia Press. These are some of my other covers, by Milkweed Editions, Whereabouts Press, a novel with Unbridled Books, and the same book in Spanish translation with Random House Mondadori Grijalbo. But imagine, too, for the author, the teeth-gnashing disappointment when the cover looks like, well, I would have shown you the link to the cover of my short stories published in Spanish, but it was that bad. In my previous incarnation as an editor of the literary journal Tameme, I relished the opportunity to, if not design, preside over and approve the cover. For each issue, I selected a work of art, paintings by Francisco Miranda, Delos McGraw, and Derek Buckner for the first, second, and third issues, respectively. I hired designers to turn my admittedly very rough idea into a cover. Kathleen Fettner designed the first cover, and Inez Hilde the others. I think you'll agree they did a beautiful job, and to anyone looking for a graphic designer, I warmly recommend them both. But those were back in the days before ebooks. Digital publishing may be far less expensive than traditional print publishing, but Dancing Chiva would not be a viable enterprise if we were to pay for a professionally designed book cover. Neither do we need the kind of technical savvy a professional designer can offer, preparing files for offset printing, and so on. For viewing an ebook's cover on a screen, a JPEG made from, say, a screenshot in Apple's Keynote program works just fine. Designing the covers of Dancing Chiva's ebooks? Why, I am. And what a joy it is. With all due respect to professional designers who know a thing or three more about the craft than most writers, to be sure, it feels profoundly right to me that the author design his or her own book's covers, for they are the introduction to, and indeed an integral part of the reader's engagement with the text. It would be lovely to have the input from some of Dancing Chiva's other authors, but alas, they are no longer in this world. And should the day come when Dancing Chiva publishes living authors, I admit, contractually speaking, I'd probably do the same as my publishers have done with me, invite comments and suggestions for the cover, but not cede final approval. That's not hypocrisy. That's reality. Designing covers for ebooks has presented a few interesting conundrums. When is it a book? That is, an electronic version of an actual book? 100 to a few hundred pages, the sort of size we usually see between covers with a spine on a shelf. And when is it really only an essay or a short story? I've seen texts as brief as a couple of pages being called ebooks. Our culture has not yet developed the vocabulary for all these newfangled distinctions. And by the way, I think digital literary short story publishing is going to go the way of songs, increasingly offered individually rather than as part of a collection or album. Should an ebook cover look different from a print book cover? I've come down on the side of a distinguishing ebook look with similar dimensions to most print books, but with rounded corners suggesting a screen, such as a Kindle, iPad, or Nook. I've also made the titles and other text proportionally larger than they often are on print books, so they may be read when shown as a thumbnail on a screen.